I recently saw A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1987. It's a movie about one of the horror icon's favorite slashers, Freddy Krueger, a being who's capable of killing kids in their sleep. Can they survive? Let's find out. So sit back, relax, and don't take a nap. I mean, you probably will fall asleep since you're watching my YouTube channel. But anyways, the movie starts off with Freddy getting ready for his 1978 movie debut, as we get the cool 70s horror movie fun of A Nightmare on Elm Street, along with that late 70s horror vibe jingle. We start our first nightmare on a girl named Tina. She goes to a high school for goats. Tina gets chased by Freddy Krueger and wakes up with a shirt rip, but Freddy never even touched her there. How does she wake up with her shirt ripped from the front?
Some dream, judging from that.
Or maybe it's just foreshadowing, who knows. In the real world, we have little girls jump roping and rhyming Freddy's jingle. If Tina had met those girls earlier or parked next to them closer, they would have found her answer and this movie would have been over with. Tina and her friends stay over to accompany her since her parents are out for the town. They start sharing their dreams they had last night, how a coincidence about a man with razor blades for fingers keeps chasing them.
I dreamed about a guy in a dirty red and green sweater. Oh, he scraped his fingernails along things. But they made a horrible sound. It's like, scream.
And then they hear a noise in the back and they send the guy out, but what was the point since he would have just died? Look at this scene.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
It's Riley bringing last down just 3 yards from the goal line.
Our story is set for these 4 horny 70s teenagers because we see Rod taking Tina to her mom's bed while Nancy and Glenn can have the rest.
Got her mother's bed. You guys got the rest.
Unfortunately, Nancy being the pure one, she gives Glenn blue balls
We're here for Tina now, not ourselves.
and had to hear his best friend nailing his girlfriend.
Rowdy sucks.
Jesus Christ, how does Nancy sleep through this? And why didn't they just leave? How did Rod even know that Tina would be alone? And how did he get in her house without even Tina's knowledge? And how is she okay with this? I have so many questions for the 70s. Jesus Christ, Tina is such a sinner. No reason she's Freddy's first target. Nancy wakes up with a crucifix falling next to her, but she can't wake up with all that noise next to her in the walls. How does that wake her up but not this? In Tina's final nightmare, we meet Freddy once again, cackling a sinister witch-like laugh, chasing Tina as well as tormenting her, of course. And you gotta admit, some of these scenes are kind of my favorite from the franchise. After this whole chasing scene, Rod, the 1-minute man, wakes up to be the worst and slowest person you'll ever meet. Look at this, he takes 12 seconds to do something while his girlfriend is screaming in bloody murder, and he just stands there instead of waking her up like any normal person would do.
12 seconds later.
If you think that's bad, guess what? Nancy is still asleep. How the hell is she still asleep from all that? And how does the crucifix fall when nothing's banging on the wall when they're having sex or when she's literally flying over the room? But anyways, Tina dies and Rod flees the scene. We have Nancy trying to get the door open, but I guess she couldn't open it, even though Glenn opens it like it's freaking nothing. The next morning, Nancy goes to school and she sees Joe Biden stalking her. He probably wants her to get her vote. She then gets kidnapped by Rod. Wait a minute, how does he know Nancy would be there? Just like the night before, his dialogue made no sense. I think he might be in the closet because, well, what the hell was this response?
The door was locked from your side.
Don't look at me like I'm some fucking fruitcake or something.
And then Nancy's dad shows up.
No!
God damn it, Nancy. I would have shot Nancy in the face.
Jesus Christ.
He then gets captured and then Nancy heads to school just to fall asleep, where she sees Tina. She runs into a Freddy Krueger sweater-wearing hall monitor, which Nancy gives the best response.
Where's your pass?
Screw your pass.
Which the hall monitor responds.
Hey, Nancy. No running in the hallway.
Nancy gets deeper into the point of this dream, where Freddy starts flashing Nancy in this wet dream. Nightmare. I meant nightmare. Nancy's non-slut behaviors, unlike Tina, and quick thinking skills made her escape, as she was smart to find a way to wake up.
Come to Freddy.
As she burns her hand, only to wake up with a real burn mark in the real world. Not only did she cause her burn mark, it also caused her social life. That's gotta be awkward. Nancy, the underage teenager, gets to leave school premises without having an adult escort her out, and has access to go to the prison to go see the lunatic Rod, that the town thinks killed Tina. Without supervision, of course, because, you know, she's the chief's daughter, she could get away with anything. She found out Rod and Tina had similar Freddy Krueger dreams.
4 razors.
cutting her at the same time.
And that causes her to go investigate, only to fall asleep and almost get her cooch snipped. Then drown, despite her mom caring for her so much. She still doesn't tell her what happened, even though what happened now in the tub when Freddy just tried to drown her.
I'm okay.
But I heard you screaming. You were calling me.
I just like getting out of the tub.
And you gotta give kudos to the mom. She's being super sweet in this movie, trying to look out for Nancy, and Nancy just gives her lip.
Don't fall asleep in there. You could drown, you know.
For Pete's sake.
I've heated up some warm milk for you, honey.
Glenn comes over to stand guard while Nancy sleeps.
And I want you to stand like a sort of a guard. Okay?
And for some reason, her mom's okay with this. In Nancy's dream, Freddy's harassing Rod in jail, and Tina starts puking bugs. Yeah, dreams are weird. Freddy starts to chase Nancy, and you gotta admit, once again, these themes are amazing where Freddy starts chasing his victims. They're very memorable in these films. Glenn fails at his one job, and I really enjoyed this scene because it's not often you see chemistry like this with the murderer and the victim. I really enjoyed the chemistry with these actors, as it's not often you see great chemistry between their victims and their murderers. Well, I mean in other films, of course. Nancy wakes up and honestly, she doesn't scold Glenn enough.
I just asked you to do one thing. Just stay awake and watch me. Just wake me up if it looked like I was having a bad dream.
I honestly wish she would have killed him. Heck, I would have killed Glenn with my bare hands. I would have strangled him to death for doing this shit. Nancy's caring mother checks up on her once again, and Nancy says absolutely nothing for the third time.
Yeah, just a little dream, that's all. I'm going right back to sleep.
Glenn and Nancy go to jail in the middle of the night without supervision, once again, to visit Rod, which she has access to because, once again, she's the chief of police's daughter. Nowadays, they can get away with anything. They find Rod being hanged as Freddy sadly got to him first, thus killing Rod, the character in this movie. After Rod's funeral, Nancy still doesn't say anything to her parents.
Killer's still loose, you know.
You're saying somebody else killed Tina. Who?
I don't know who he is.
Nancy, what the Nancy goes to sleep therapy or something, just so we can lazily add a scene where she's pulling a hat off Freddy, but they don't show the dream where she's doing that, so why would they do this? I wouldn't want to see Nancy pull the hat off Freddy in his dream.
What happened? I brought something out from my dream.
The next morning, Nancy confronts her mom for not telling her about Freddy Krueger, and I'm with her.
Fred Krueger, Mom. Fred Krueger. Do you know who that is, Mother? Because if you do, you better tell me because he's after me now.
I mean, seriously, how did the mom not say anything? Wasn't Nancy just going bananas like for the past few days? And her friends were dying. Why would she not say anything? I'm just as pissed as Nancy is. Nancy comes home the next day with the house windows barred up. As her, it's gotta be 2 o'clock somewhere mom walks in, all train wreck, drunkenly talking to Nancy about Freddy Krueger.
What's with the bars? Security.
And don't get me wrong, I love it when women act like this. They're funny.
Security from what? Not from what? From home.
And then she tells her who Freddy Krueger is.
Come down to the cellar with me and I'll tell you.
We learned that Freddy Krueger was a past child murderer in the 60s.
You want to know who Fred Krueger was? He was a filthy child murderer who killed at least 20 kids in the neighborhood.
We also find out that the police still stuck back in the mid-60s to this story.
Did they put him away?
Well, the lawyers got fat and the judge got famous, but somebody forgot to sign the search warrant in the right place and Krueger was free just like that.
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with the justice system? I mean, seriously, how the hell do you let a child murderer free?
What did you do, Mother?
A bunch of us parents tracked him down after they let him out. Took gasoline, then lit the whole thing up and watched it burn.
Nancy tells Glenn about Freddy Krueger and gives him another job.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
But fails and dies. But before he died, he was told not to fall asleep at 11:42. Also, why would she assign her boyfriend this task if he didn't succeed the first time?
You bastard.
What'd I do?
Nancy keeps checking up on Glenn, but realizes that Glenn isn't the only one asleep.
What?
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
She tries to save Glenn, but her drunk, unhelpful, useless mother is a gigantic obstacle for Nancy.
Lock. I locked it all up.
It really confuses me how a mom like this randomly acts so differently. It honestly perplexes the audience. And don't tell me alcoholism is the reason why she's acting like this. Look, she even foreshadows her death.
Nancy, you are going to get some sleep tonight if it kills me.
That sucks. And all she wanted to do is help Glenn. Poor Glenn. After Glenn's death, she calls her dad, who's on the crime scene. And after hearing his own daughter about Freddy Krueger, despite all the evidence and death, her dad brushes it off and ignores it.
And I want you to be there to arrest him when I bring him out, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Nancy sets up the traps. She tells her mom goodnight and then falls asleep. Wait a minute. The last time we saw the time, it was 11:42, and during that time, Nancy talks to Glenn, Glenn falls asleep, Nancy falls asleep too, Glenn dies, the ambulance and the police arrive, Nancy talks to her dad, then sets up the pre-Home Alone booby traps, kisses her mom goodnight, and you're telling me it's only 12:20 a.m.? So you're saying Nancy did all that in under 30 minutes? How is that possible when police in the real world always respond to a crime in over 30 minutes? And how come she didn't tell her dad that her mom trapped her in her freaking house? And also, why does it say 9:30 p.m. when the camera zooms in on Nancy's watch? Shouldn't it say 12:20 a.m.? Nancy falls asleep to enter her final nightmare on the search to bringing Freddy Krueger into the real world. You honestly gotta admire her bravery to stop Freddy as she puts up with his shenanigans once again. She wakes up in that one way where you can still think you're dreaming because some objects from your dream world are in reality for a split second because you're waking up. And trust me, I've had this experience many times. It's trippy and I like it. But anyways, Nancy finally wakes up but fails in successfully catching Freddy Krueger.
I'm crazy after all.
Also, when she woke up, her alarm clock goes off by itself. But didn't she set up the timer on her watch? And who stopped the alarm clock when it went off? It was probably Freddy just teasing Nancy once again. Not gonna lie, Nancy's a badass for fighting off a creep like Freddy. And why is Freddy so dumb in the real world? Wasn't he like human before he turned into this? That is what the mom said, right? I mean, seriously, how do you not know how to open a door? You have another hand that doesn't have razor blades, you know? He also trips down the stairs like a drunk uncle at Christmas and steps on Nancy's booby traps. Also, why would Nancy make explosions inside the house? Her mother could have stepped on those, you know. That's very unsafe, Nancy. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm into survival.
And during all this, we have the brilliant cops not doing anything. Even after they hear the chief of police's daughter, Nancy, screaming for help, breaking windows, more shouting and glass breaking, viewable assaults, explosions, and Nancy gives the best response.
Everything is gonna be alright!
Get my back, you asshole!
Nancy leads Freddy downstairs to recklessly set him on fire, while carelessly not being unaware that she can burn the house down, along burning others with it. The smoke in the house finally gets a cop's attention.
Maybe I better go tell the lieutenant.
But I don't think he ever does tell the chief, because the chief responded without anyone telling him, but his screaming daughter.
Daddy! I did it! Please hurry!
Parker! I need some help here!
Jesus Christ, I think this one cop is the actual villain in this movie, because he never told the chief anything when Nancy politely asked.
Get my back, you asshole!
And the chief himself told him to guard Nancy, and he never did.
Go outside and watch my daughter's house. If you see anything funny, call me.
I think he wanted her dead, but honestly, can you blame him? I mean, she's always interfering with police work and harassing the folks down in the station.
Garcia, I've got to see Rod Lane again.
Nope. I took the night shift so I could get some peace and quiet.
Look, it's urgent!
So after the police arrive on the scene here, they check the basement. But when Nancy turns around, all of a sudden there's fire footsteps, literally the same place where the police entered under 10 seconds. So you're telling me Freddy ninja'd his way behind the kitchen counter around to the stairs? And how did the dad not see anything? His viewpoint is noticeable for a burning man. They go upstairs to witness Freddy on top of Nancy's mom in bed. And not in a good way. Her dad didn't even do what all cops do and pull his gun and shoot him. Instead, he just pulls a blanket over them instead. Why didn't he put more effort in saving his wife? Was he unhappy with his 20-year marriage and planning a divorce? Or maybe he's just into some strange fireman cuckolding sessions. These are answers we'll never get on why the chief didn't help his wife much. Heck, Nancy did more than her father. The movie gets even more strange, as when the blanket is removed, it's her dead mom puppet, saying goodbye and disappearing into the oddly strange yet satisfying bed. Why is Nancy now realizing this? She could have pulled her mother out of the way instead of staring. And so does her dad, without even caring that his wife died. And why does Freddy come out again? Didn't he use Nancy's sleeping mother as a way to go back into the dream world? So why is he back just to bargain with Nancy? This makes no sense. We then find out via Nancy that this whole time she's been dreaming. So she stops Freddy by simply not being afraid of him, and it works, I guess. She found the power all along, but why didn't Freddy just stop her when he had the chance? That's what I mean by this ending is so confusing.
I know the secret now. This is just a dream. I take back every bit of energy I gave you. You're nothing. You're shit.
And wait, if everything was a dream, does that mean that mom didn't die and all of this wasn't reality? That may probably explain why the cops liked it too, even though in the real world they would have liked it too. The movie gets even more stranger than before because she goes outside with her mom, who I guess never died because this is still a dream since Nancy never woke up. And she has a different character change because it looks like she doesn't even remember fighting Freddy. She goes to her friends who are still alive in this dream, but it just so happens that they're being kidnapped by their car, I guess.
Hey, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
What's going on with the window?
But why are they scared? I would want the windows up if I wanted to hotbox my car while I was driving on the freeway. The movie finally ends with this bizarre plot twist and our courageous, brave, smart female protagonist Nancy turning clueless in the scene, leaving in a haunted Freddy Krueger car while a dream mom... Yeah, what the hell is this ending? And that was A Nightmare on Elm Street. Phew. This classic horror icon made a big debut in 1984 with a great success, as its box office achievement made new waves for more Nightmare on Elm Street films. But the original Nightmare on Elm Street does have its cons, specifically the ending, as it does make horror fans a little disappointed and make new horror movie fans think horror movies are just funny or a joke. Let me rant for a second. So if Nancy was dreaming this whole time, did it start when the Freddy phone kissed her? If so, was her drunk mom all part of the dream? Was she Freddy's puppet? Did Nancy share the same dream world as Glenn? Why did Freddy allow Nancy to do the booby traps if this was a dream? And double trick her to thinking that he caught her instead of just killing her when he had the chance? And if Nancy really was dreaming this whole time with zero proof of waking up, that probably would have explained the dad's bizarre behavior at the end, as well as the police liking it and being unhelpful, even though in reality they really love to like it. And if this really was all a dream, does that mean Nancy's mom didn't die? Or what the hell happened to her? And why does Freddy keep coming back and not even kill Nancy when he had multiple opportunities to do that too? It feels like the viewers have to see multiple endings in this film, with each getting weirder after the other one. For example, you have Nancy's mom's odd death, Freddy's return after disappearing for just 1 minute, the bizarre twist of it all being a dream, which made all these scenes make no sense, along with the bad car ending, and whatever you call this. All of these scenes honestly just leave the viewers confused and probably even lost. It probably makes them think that horror movies aren't to be taken seriously as horror films. So I just wish the director stuck with one ending instead of doing all of this. Besides the ending, another thing that would probably annoy the viewer is how incredibly useless the adults are with Nancy screaming and begging for help. But since it was all a dream, then that probably explains it. But I could be wrong. The movie has a great pace with its length time, and it would leave you pretty entertained for a 1984 film. You'll enjoy Nancy's misfortunes of having to deal with sneaky bastard Freddy Krueger, along with their chases and fights too. And you'll get plenty of Freddy Krueger played by the legendary Robert Englund, who does a freaking good job symbolizing a true horror movie icon, and you gotta acknowledge the creativity and originality of the character. His story and origin left many generations entertained, as many horror villains had the same formula at the time, with A Nightmare on Elm Street doing something completely new and outside the box, and sparked its horror icon phenomenon. So with all that out of the way, I give A Nightmare on Elm Street 8.5 drunk mothers out of 10. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a great original film. It will leave you invested about the characters, but just don't let their actions at the ending confuse you. And if you enjoyed your time here, please leave a like and subscribe, as it can help this channel grow. And if you have any movie suggestions, please leave a comment and see what I could do next. I'm really interested to see what movies and recommendations I get, and hopefully your comment will be turned into a video. It's a small channel, so anything can happen. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I honestly didn't know this video would be this long, but I'm ready to take a nap right now. Have a good day, stay safe, and most importantly, stay tuned. Bye.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
No!
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.